Christine Hoisington. I work with Booz Allen's Community Partnerships team, and I've been part of the little planning committee that's helpful today together, along with Charlie Palumbo, who you probably all know from the Virginia Employment Commission. I want to introduce our Senior Vice President here at Booz Allen, who is actually a co-chair of what we call our Veterans Agenda. We can tell you more about that. And he's really passionate about doing great things for veterans. So with that, I introduce Carl Salzano.
Thank you, Christine. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully, it'll be a memorable day, not just for the cold weather, but for the sharing and information that's going to be presented today. I was really impressed with the speakers that we have, and the fact that there are so many organizations, private firms, representatives from Department of Labor, government, state, nonprofits, etc. I think it's a really terrific opportunity for everyone today to network and learn. And at the end of the day, I mean, my view is it's all about jobs. And jobs, I think, are about networking and relationships and mentoring. And I think this is a great opportunity for folks to get a mentor, to help with the transition, to open those doors. I know when I was getting out of the service, I went to college and I entered the workforce during a time of recession. It was really hard to get the interviews, and the person that gave me a break was a veteran who had a position they were trying to fill. I think we just sort of connected. Somebody needs to open the door. Somebody needs to reach out and give people a helping hand. And so I think the mentoring, the relationship piece is so important. And so if you can use today to do that, I think you'll be so much better off. So without further ado, let me turn it over, and I wish you a great day, and see you at the end of the day.
I'm Debbie Frett. I'm the CEO of Business and Professional Women's Foundation. And I am so excited to be a part of this program today and introduce you to our wonderful program. The civilian world just does not understand the challenges facing not only veterans, but specifically women veterans. There's many of you probably here today that are single mothers or caregivers for family members. And so that coupled with the issues that you have in terms of your career makes it even more challenging. The other thing is that you've been looked differently than your male veteran counterparts. Even though you fill 99% of military jobs, including serving in war zones, employers often don't equate your experience the same way they do with your male counterparts. And those of you who served in war zones may not be afforded the same prestige. And oftentimes we hear that women veterans don't even necessarily speak to that kind of service. So the other thing that's most fascinating in terms of the research and supporting focus groups that validate this research is that also many of you as women veterans do this to yourself as well. Oftentimes you don't self-identify. Oftentimes you don't take advantage of the service benefits that you have. And so we wanted to take this research and look at how we can develop a program that could give you a helping hand and make you feel comfortable and safe in a trusted environment. And so the Joining Forces Mentoring Program is where we have volunteer working women that want to mentor you. So they're not being forced into it, they want to mentor you. They want to understand as best they can in terms of any issues that you have. And they want to serve you, give back to you in terms of helping you with your civilian career. And for us, it's not just about getting a job or starting a business. It's that mentor stays with you throughout your entire journey. Because we want you to be successful in your job. We want you to be successful in your business. And so it's not just about getting the job, it's being successful in that job. Not about just starting the business, being successful in that business. And that's how our program is very, very different from a lot of other programs out there. In addition to the mentoring, we also have a wide array of resources that are available. And remember that all of this is free. Okay, so this program is for you, it's free, and it's through the companies like Booz Allen, the Lion Credit Union Foundation, and others, that they support this, not only with mentors and resources, but they also financially support it. And our intention is for you never to have to pay for this. Okay, so the other thing is make sure you take advantage of it. So once again, I want to thank each of you for your service. I don't think we do that enough. I want to urge you to take advantage of all the benefits available to you from the Veterans Administration, the Virginia Economic Commission, the state of Virginia, and many organizations just like BPW Foundation who are working hard to support you. And we want to help you find success and happiness in your civilian lives. So again, welcome, take advantage of everything you see and hear today, and if anybody wants to talk to me, I'll be around all day. I love nothing better than talking to women veterans. This is a very, very strong, passionate program for me. And I was instrumental in starting it with BPW. So again, thank you and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks, Carl and Debbie. I can't add a whole lot to that. I'm Carol Agee with the Virginia Employment Commission, and I am Chief of Special Programs with the Commission. Charlie Palumbo has done a great job putting this together. And I'd also like to thank our partners, BPW Foundation, Booz Allen, and Virginia Wounded Warrior. It takes a lot of work to pull these things off, and we're so proud and happy that you all were able to come today. And I would also like to mention that we have got veteran representatives here with the Virginia Employment Commission. So they're set up outside. Please make sure if you are a job seeker that you are registered with them and introduce yourself to them so that they can help you. I get to do the fun job of introducing our distinguished speakers today. And our first speaker, Nancy Glowacki, began August 19th of this year as the Women Veteran Program Manager with the U.S. Department of Labor Veterans Employment and Training Services, shortened to VETS. Prior to coming to VETS, she served as a subject matter expert on veterans transition issues for the military, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and as an independent consultant. Nancy has worked on a variety of veterans employment initiatives and programs, including Coming Home to Work, America's Heroes at Work, and employment workshops. She is a veteran of the U.S. Army, having served among both the enlisted and officer ranks. Nancy has served as a committee member on the Department of Veterans Affairs Advisory Committee for Women Veterans and Committee on Rehabilitation. Her education includes a doctorate of management and organizational leadership, a master's of business administration and human resource management, and a Bachelor of Science degree. I present Nancy Glowacki.
Thank you so much for having us here. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what Department of Labor is currently doing and what we could really use your help with in getting the word out about existing services to our fellow sisters in service. So the Women Veteran Program at Department of Labor is new. It started at the same time that I came on board, so we haven't been around very long. But the Department of Labor's service to women veterans is actually not new. The Department of Labor has been the focal point for Americans to get assistance with employment for 100 years. Now, within the Department of Labor, we have two very important offices as it relates to women veterans. We have the Office of the Veterans Employment and Training Service, VETS, which is the office that I fall under. And then we also have Women's Bureau that has worked for a very long time to formulate standards and policies to improve working conditions for all women in the workforce. So while I fall under VETS, I work very closely with Women's Bureau, because what we actually have here is an overlap of two different populations. So some of us as women veterans may find that we experience the same challenges as our male veteran counterparts. Some of us may find ourselves facing the same challenges as our non-veteran female peers. So behind the scenes at central office, we're looking at long-term trends. We're looking at lessons learned from these other populations that we are a subculture of. We're doing a lot of analysis behind the scenes and looking at existing research. While we're doing that, we're working very hard to increase awareness of existing services. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the challenges we know about and what we can do about it. So starting out, the challenges that we are hearing from women veterans, that we're reading in research, that we've had women stand up at our own listening sessions and talk about, are not unique to women. We're finding them among our male veteran counterparts. Difficulty translating civilian skills into a language that civilian employers can understand. Not being familiar with an interview process. Not knowing how to create a civilian resume. How would a person know of these things if they've never learned? That's crazy to even think that we would be born knowing those things. Now, the good news is that we have a network of 2,600 American Job Centers across the nation. Now, when I say American Job Centers, that's a term we use here in DC. The Virginia Employment Commission that is here today, Charlie Palumbo, who you all know, that's what we refer to as American Job Center, because the names do differ at the local levels. So what we want to really get out there among women veterans and among those who serve women veterans is awareness of these centers. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to find the one closest to you in about 30 seconds before I wrap up here. So at Central Office, we are working with several partners that I see here today, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the military, some nonprofits, to make sure that if they have somebody who's serving women veterans in another capacity, they know that we exist. They know that if she also has employment-related needs, they can get her to us. Now this brings me to our next challenge that we are currently aware of. Many women veterans do not know that these services exist. That is a problem. If we already have services for the challenges we know about and people don't know to use them, that is a huge problem. So that's where I would like to ask for your help. You know, if you're here today, you are aware of the Virginia Employment Commission. Make sure that your sisters in service are aware that there is an equivalent center where they live. Across the nation, we have these American Job Centers. And we have staff there that are professionally trained in working with issues that are very specific to veterans, that they can work with you, they understand you. So we really need to get the word out on that. Another challenge that we have is that many women veterans do not necessarily identify as a veteran. Now, at our American Job Centers, veterans get priority of service. So if you're not identifying as a veteran, you may miss out on additional services. And we need to, myself included, we all need to do a better job of standing up and claiming our veteran status. Being very proud of our service to this military. It does not matter if you served in combat, in peacetime, in the reserves, in the National Guard, on active duty, whether you got injured, whether you did not get injured. If you served in the United States military, stand up and claim your status as a woman veteran. Not only to help yourself to receive that priority of service that I mentioned, but to help your fellow sisters who come after you. Because when you get that next job, when you get that next promotion, when you are being a wild success in your chosen career field, whether or not you talk about your military experiences, whether or not you claim your veteran status, that will determine whether or not employers see women when they think of a veteran for those who come after us. There are many employers out there that want to hire veterans. They know what we bring to the table. Some of them are here today. Are they thinking about women when they think about veterans? Obviously those here today do. Let's make sure that all employers are seeing that. And that starts with each one of us. So I did bring with me today, and I stuffed these into your folders early this morning. In the back of one of the sides of your folders, there is a simple one piece of paper. If you look at the front of this piece of paper where it has the picture of the woman veteran, you will see a website called servicelocator.org. If you go to servicelocator.org and type in your zip code, you will bring up a list of American Job Centers nearest to you. And as I've already mentioned, they will have different names at the local level. Hiring happens at the local level. It is critical that you are out there talking to these experts in your local area. But if you go to the servicelocator.org website, or if you're using that 800 number on the same piece of paper, any center that you get referred to will be in our American Job Center network. So I would ask you to please share that with your peers. And I'd also like to ask your help with another matter. As I mentioned earlier, at Central Office, we are looking behind the scenes to try to identify what your needs are. At the end of the day, you're going to be given a survey to evaluate the day. Virginia Employment Commission has been so kind in allowing a little space there for you to write in. What are the challenges that you have faced pertaining to employment? And they've agreed to provide me with a copy of those so that we can really look at what challenges you're facing. Do we have the services out there to meet them? Are people aware that those services exist? It would really help us to help other female veterans.
Our next speaker is Brigadier General Linda Singh. She is Managing Director of Public Safety of Accenture Federal Services Public Safety Business and has more than 22 years of experience implementing large systems. In addition to her role as a Managing Director, Ms. Singh manages a second career as a Brigadier General in the Maryland Army National Guard, dedicating more than 32 years of service. Ms. Singh recently returned from a military deployment in Afghanistan, where she served as Afghan Security Forces Operations Chief with the 29th Infantry Division as part of the International Security Assistance Force Joint Command. After returning from deployment, she was assigned as the Director of Maryland National Guard Joint Staff. She holds a bachelor's degree in business, a master of public administration, and a master of strategic studies from the Army War College. General Linda Singh.
I am so happy that Charlie and BPW and the Booz Allen team, put this on today and actually invited me to speak. So this is the first event, and really starting it off and talking about mentoring, which I think is so absolutely fundamental to you being able to build a career, change careers, continuing to have even your current career. Mentoring is so fundamental to that. And so hopefully through some of the things that I'll talk about today will allow you to be able to kind of put together how do you use a mentor, how do you use it to really the best of your ability, because a mentor can be a very, very great thing for you. And that's what I'm hoping to be able to get across so that when you leave today, you're going to be beating down the door of some individual that can be a mentor and a supporter for you. Why would you get a mentor? I mean, you've already heard some of these things already about, they're going to help you build kind of that resume. Because I look at a lot of resumes, and I'm going to tell you, if you're not used to putting together a resume, right, it has nothing to do with your skill set or not. If you're not used to putting together a resume that is going to stand out and get the attention of an organization, then you really do need to work with a mentor that's going to help you do that. Because you're going to sell yourself short otherwise. You will sell yourself short. So that's probably a really, really key thing. They're going to guide you in your work. So don't just say, I want a mentor, and you're only going to use them one time. Because then they're not really going to be a mentor. A mentoring relationship is something that's going to happen over time. You're going to have to put some time and energy into developing that relationship, just as well as the mentor is going to put some time and energy into developing that relationship. And if you remember, I said my mentor is also my career counselor even today. In my civilian organization, him and I have had a relationship for a very long time. A very long time. And actually, I'm meeting with him this week, by the way. So I'm having breakfast with him on Thursday, I think it is. So he's coming in because he doesn't live local. So that's another thing too, is he's not local, but that doesn't stop anything. Mentors can refer you to others. right? They can help you broaden your network. One of the things that when I have people that come to me and they want me to mentor them, the first thing I start doing is looking at their network. And I start kind of giving them names of individuals that are really within their sphere of influence, and they don't even know them. They've never talked to them. And they're like, I'm afraid. Well, why are you afraid? So, we try to kind of overcome that. So those are some of the things that I really help to focus them in on. Identifying, the right resources in the spheres of influence, because sometimes, and this to me is it's not just a military thing, so we do this in the civilian environment. We think the more senior the person, the more face time I get with the most senior person is going to be the best thing for me. Not always, right? Especially if they're not up to par, that's not what you want to do. And I kind of tell, I tell even some of my male veterans, right? I tell them, and some of my current service members, I tell them, look, you don't want to be up front and center with me if you're not up to par. You don't need more face time with me. You probably need less face time. Right? So you just need to think about that. Face time with the most senior person may not be always the thing that you need right at the moment. They can be a sounding board, right? They can really be a sounding board to help guide you through your career. And, one of the challenges that I faced, and I'm going to tell you, the whole path that I talked about the sponsor, the chief operating officer. Well, I had made a decision very early in my career at Accenture that I did not want to be a partner. We don't call ourselves partners anymore, we call ourselves managing directors, but I didn't want to be a partner. And when I told the person that I worked for that I wanted to opt out of that process and only be associate partner, which means I could have stayed at that level, they go, you're going to have the conversation with Steve. And I'm like, why? And they go, because he's your sponsor, and he's not going to be happy. And I'm like, wonderful. So I had to have a conversation with Steve. And that conversation, when I finished that conversation, I think I just had been spun 360, because guess what? I still went forward to make managing director. And my reasoning for that was because I knew that I was not going to give up my military career. I knew what it took for me to step up to that next level. But there again, what did I do to myself? I was selling myself short, right? I mean, granted, I'd been a single parent for a time. I was going to school, working nights, worked 3 or 4 jobs. I did whatever it took. So why would this be any different? Why would I sell myself short? Because I was afraid of kind of taking that leap. I was afraid of what it was going to do. I was afraid of letting someone down, frankly, even myself, a failure. So I felt like I was going to have to make a choice. But I was doing that to myself. I wasn't even having the conversation with my mentor or my sponsor to say, does this make sense? So I was forced into having that conversation. So someone else forced me into having that conversation. And what I found is that they were like, you don't need to make a choice. These two things can coexist. We just need to figure out how to make it happen. So the key thing is that talk to your mentor. Talk to your mentor. Don't self-select out. Right? Don't opt out because you think you know what they're going to say. Having the conversation doesn't cost you anything. What's the worst thing they can tell you? No, it's not going to work. That's the worst thing. And then you just say, well, okay, so how do we figure out how to make this work in due time, right? I mean, there's other ways in and around that. So, don't sell yourself short. A mentee and mentor relationship has to be built on trust. It has to be built on trust. And the mentor that I have, and I have a number of mentors, but the one that I keep going back to, I trust him with my life. I would. So you have to have that level of trust. Because if you don't trust your mentor, you're not going to be able to have the frank conversations. You just won't be able to have the frank conversations. And I have, I love mentoring. And I love being able to sit there and look at what's going on with the individual, especially women. That's like one of my favorite things. And mainly because I can see opportunity. I can see that they have so much value and so much power and so much drive that sometimes they don't see themselves. And helping them to realize that, and then watching them grow after that, it's like, you know, me being able to plant a garden and just watching all my flowers bloom, right? All my tulips and roses and watching them bloom. And that to me is, it's like, it's the most beautiful thing when you can help someone to realize their own self-worth and just kind of let that bloom. And that's what a mentor is there. So you have to have that trust in order to be able to do that. And obviously, you know, we've hit on the growth, but so here's another thing that a mentor can help you do, because this is one that I don't know that we do enough self-reflection. And I say self-reflection because if you don't know yourself, I'm not talking about, okay, yeah, I know myself, no, you need to do some deep self-reflection to really understand what makes you happy and what drives you. For instance, I have a young lady that I've been mentoring now for about 2 years. Now, we were paired up in a formal mentoring program, which was interesting because I was like, okay, I'm not sure how this is going to work. But what's funny is another female executive that knows me very well said, we need to pair her with Linda. Because the girl, she has so, and I say girl, excuse me, she's not a girl, she's a young woman. She has so much energy and drive that I guarantee you she could flip this room upside down in like 60 seconds because it's just, you know, she's got so much energy. But she's been working part-time. She's a mother. And she was kind of at a crossroads with her career. She's in a role that is okay, but she's not exactly happy with. But then she doesn't want to make significant changes because she's afraid of giving up the time that she gets to spend with her family. So as we have our first conversation, the first thing that I asked her to bring, so the first thing I did is, when we meet, here are a couple of things I need you to do. I want you to do a journey line. Have you ever heard of a journey line? Right? A journey line, it's one of these things where we show the ups and downs of, you know, what's happened over your work life, right? The major events, because these things shape your thinking, they shape your decisions. And if you don't understand kind of where your ups and downs are, then it's going to be really hard for you to figure out truly where you want to go and what makes you happy. And so what we found is we focused on that. And every place that I've seen that she was saying that she really enjoyed this role and she felt like she was on a high, did not even match up to what she was doing today. And so my question to her was, if these are the things that you enjoy doing, then why are you doing this? And we had to have that heart-to-heart conversation. And it got emotional. It got very, you know, it wasn't a tense conversation. It was a very good, but it was a heartfelt, let's get to the root of what you're thinking. And what we were able to do is I've been able to help her, one, stop being her unforced enemy. Two, stop opting out before you even ask the question, as in whether or not you can make it work. And three, pushing her out of a role where she's just like, but this is just different, but it's not what you like, and you're not happy. Into a role that she really enjoys doing. It took me almost 2 years to get her to that point. Almost 2 years to get her to that point. And her and I mean, obviously we still talk, right, regularly. I still have to kind of pull her off the pole every now and then because she gets She's such a high performer that she works herself in a tizzy. When I say she works herself in a tizzy, she is her own worst enemy, and the fact that she creates the things for herself that she doesn't want somebody else doing for her. So I'm trying to get her out of that particular habit, right? Because it is for her, it's a habit. And I guarantee you there are probably at least 50% of us that have that same habit, right? We put so many things on our plate. We think we have to accomplish every single thing. Our boss never put it there, but we put it there. Right? So, these types of things as a mentor, you can really work through in what's at the root. How do I get to the point where I'm going to be happy in what I do? But you have to know yourself in order to be able to do that. And so doing that journey line, it's a perfect way to be able to look at what drives, what has been driving your decisions, what's been driving your thinking, what's been shaping or influencing how you look at even your future. I have to wrap up here because we're running late. And so, if I think, some key things that I really want you to kind of take away from, hopefully, a few of the stories that I've shared, some things even, with just my overall background and how I look at mentoring. The first thing is, know yourself. You can't lie to yourself, right? You really have to spend some time putting a plan together and saying, what is it that I really want to do? And how am I going to get there? So I would say if you look at the journey line, and you can actually go out and Google journey lines, they have all different types of things. They're really easy to do. They're really creative looking. If I would have thought about it, I would have brought mine and highlighted my journey line because I use it quite a bit in sessions. But the other thing that you need to do is once you understand what drives your decisions, what drives your beliefs, what drives your values, then you need to actually develop yourself what I consider to be a strategic scorecard, a personal scorecard. And it's like a 4-quadrant scorecard that looks at, your health and your spirituality, it looks at your work, and it looks at your family life. And the first part of that exercise on that personal scorecard is to say, what do you value most? What's most important to you should go at the top. And then on the bottom half of each of those quadrants, you should be looking at, if that's what's most important to me, then where do I want to focus the next 3 to 5 years? And then what are the steps that I need to get there? And if you use that as the guide to have a mentoring discussion, it becomes very fruitful. It becomes very, very fruitful. Because then you can start working together on very tangible things. Because nothing that you're going to face is insurmountable. So you can then work with your mentor on very tangible things. And so if nothing else that you kind of get out of this in terms of when you sit down with your mentor, have your journey line to be able to talk about your story, talk about what drives you. Spend some time working on your scorecard. And the first piece of it is most important to you, you should have done before you talk to your mentor. And then let your mentor work with you on the other pieces to that. Because that will then, really help you to have a foundation for setting a mentoring relationship. Because what I find is many people say, I want a mentor. And they think that mentor is just having a conversation. We're going to go out and have a cup of coffee. We're going to go out and have a glass of wine. It's more than that. So, make your mentor work. Because I know that when I have mentees, they sign up with me, I say, are you ready to work? Because every single conversation, I ask them to bring something to the table. I'm asking them to think about something. If I've asked them that if they said they want to build their network, then I'm wondering, okay, who have you talked to? What were the conversations? What were the key messages that you left? These are the things that I'm getting them to really think about. And so, when you get assigned a mentor, when you select a mentor, make that a relationship that you're going to put some stock in so that you're going to get some value. And I think with that, I'm going to end so that we don't get too far behind schedule. But I really enjoyed talking with you all. This is like one of my most favorite subjects. I could go on for days about mentoring. But it is, you know, to me, it is one of the most important things that you need to kind of get right as you start moving forward. And with that, I'd like to say thank you.
I'm Camilla Schwabel. I'm a regional director with the Virginia Wounded Warrior Program out of the Virginia Department of Veterans Services. I'm extremely honored to be able to kind of try and wrap up the day. What we're hoping through this conference today is that this has helped you increase your awareness, that we've increased your knowledge of a lot of resources, both nationwide through the VA, statewide through programs like the Virginia Wounded Warrior Program, nonprofit-wise, and so on and so forth. That you've gotten a wonderful overview of lots of different strategies as to how to address some of the needs of women veterans. And two of those that have really been highlighted for this conference are networking and the importance of mentorship. So wonderful strategies to begin to look at some of those unique needs. I want to thank all of you for being here. I think it's been a wonderful day. Hopefully you all have gotten out of it a lot to take home, to share with other women veterans, to share with your male counterparts, and to go out and do good things for yourselves and for others. I think it's been a very inspiring day. We've heard some wonderful speakers who really were seeking to empower you all to be the best person that you can possibly be, to believe in yourself, to not doubt yourself as women or as veterans, and to go forward and to do great things.